Hello, welcome back to my studio. I'm so glad that you're here today. Today I'm going to be continuing to work on this painting. She is coming along so well and I love her so much. I have my palette set up already. I have white, yellow ochre, permanent rose, and magenta set up. And then I have water here. These are water-based oils. I have the water-based medium and some more water. And we're going to get stuck into it. I'm going to set a 30-minute time blocking timer because I do not want to overwork myself here. I need to work to constraints because it keeps things productive and healthy. So I finished off working on these colors. I'm going to grab a little bit more of my yellow ochre because we are all out on this palette. Hello, beautiful. Welcome back. I'm grabbing my brush. I need a little oil. And I'm just going to work right into this color that I had yesterday. This is a new palette that I got and I am obsessed. It is great. The best bit about it is that you don't really have to pack up. You just throw the lid back on. If you know that you're going to be painting soon with it and you know that you have colors you want to leave, then this is an amazing option for a palette. And then it actually has a lot of stuff under here that are more set up for acrylics. I got this glass thing to lay in here and I wanted it specifically in the neutral gray, so the middle gray. And then if I don't end up painting when I think I'm going to and I let them dry in there, you just simply scrape it off with a blade and it works so well. It's been such a game changer and it makes cleaning up so much quicker and easier. And because of that, it makes the process of getting into the studio so much easier. Probably more for just for my mindset, because I feel like often I was held back from coming in the studio just thinking it's too much work and I don't have enough time to set up all the stuff just to do 30 minutes of work and then have to wash all the brushes and take it all down and all of that. So this has really helped with that. And often when I'm only working for 30 minutes, I realize I really use more than a couple brushes anyway. So the cleanup process is actually dead easy. So that has really helped me to reframe getting into the studio for these small little chunks of time, which has helped me to build up my paintings a lot quicker. And even mindset wise, it's really helped me to just get into the studio so much more. It's been really helpful. I want this to be quite yellowy, and then I'm going to figure out how light I want it. Oh, it's so beautiful and buttery. Okay, let's see if this is right. It's too light now. Sure is. Add a bit more of the magenta, a bit more of the yellow ochre. So yeah, I love this palette. It's really helped me a lot. It is, I don't even look any light. Sometimes when you add light to these, I find it's hard to darken it up again. It seems so weird, it's so counterintuitive. But if I add this in, and then I think I'll add some just straight up yellow ochre unmixed. These are in my imagination beautiful fields of flowers, and they're in clusters on these beautiful sweeping hills. My daughter thought this was the ocean. When I told her I did some painting yesterday, she said, did you paint on the ocean, Mommy? I'm like, what are you talking about, girlfriend? All I have was those mountains. But she meant this was the ocean in her mind, which I thought was really sweet too. I can totally see it. It's a bit greener than I would paint an ocean, but for a 4-year-old, this was the ocean. It was the cutest thing. I told her that I painted, and she said, oh, I can't wait to see it, Mommy, and that just melted my heart. It was so sweet. I love that I get to share this studio space and passion of mine, and I love how much it's a part of her world. Her and I have studio time regularly together where we just work on an easel each. I usually work on the bigger easel and she works on this one, and we just paint and we chat and we just have the best time together, and it's just her and me one-on-one. It's so much fun. Honestly, like the best times we've ever had together. It's so cute. And she just has so much fun. She loves painting. She loves being creative, and she loves doing it together. My little partner in studio instead of partner in crime. This isn't quite the color I think I was imagining for here. It's a lot more peachy, no apricot-y. I was definitely imagining just more yellow ochre, but I think like I'll start with this base and then introduce that back on top, so I don't think it's gonna matter. Just something that I'm noticing, but I don't hate it like at all. I mean, coming along quite nicely. These aren't going on top because it's so wet. But sometimes you just have to trust the process and see where it leads you. And in this instance, it's a little more peachy than I expected because of the magenta that I added. I accidentally added the magenta when I was doing the undercolor, the darker color. But then I was really happy with it, and I thought it would be more harmonious with the pink, which I think it is being this color. So yeah, I think it will work overall better anyway. I've added some darks over here. We'll get that. I'll add a little chunk over here. I am painting today and squinting a lot with my eyes to help keep a little distance, I guess, between me and the artwork so that it's not so controlled. Sometimes I wish that I wore like good old-fashioned glasses and I had bad eyesight, but so that I could just take my glasses off and paint without them. And I think that would be so interesting to see the differences in painting with and without, because you would look at the shape so differently and you wouldn't be as bogged down in the details, especially for something like this where it's like not detailed work yet. Or I guess it is, but it's not like you're responding to a picture or something, like a photo or a painting you've already done. I'm painting solely just from my imagination without a reference. So I think if you were doing it from a reference, it would be quite different. But I'm doing it in this case too, just to keep myself from getting too attached. So this I'm happy with at this moment, so I'm going to go in with the just straight up yellow ochre next. I'm going to keep it dark, and then eventually I will add some lights to it. I'm not sure the color difference is going to be enough. I think so. Got a touch of this color in it from when I was mixing it. I don't know how much I'm going to need it. It may not need much of it, but it definitely will help. I don't want to fill all the areas in either. I want to leave the green coming through in some really nice patches. Yeah, that's really helping a lot, having this color in here. I like the texture that it's creating. Maybe I should paint with a different brush soon so that it sits differently and it's not all like the same size on it. Probably a good idea. I'm going to do that right now actually. I'm going to pick a slightly bigger brush. A little more oil. Run a bit smoother. I'm going to need a bit more yellow ochre on my palette soon. Go back over these spaces a little. Oh yeah, it's nice. It's nice doing it with a different brush. It adds a different layer, and this one's not perfectly round like the last one. It has a bit more texture to its shape when you put it on the canvas, which I think is adding a lot of value in this case. These are all like perfect dots. Whoops. I need that back right away. Sometimes I just turn the brush around a bit so that they don't all sit at the same kind of spot. And just holding these together a bit more to make sure that I get the join better. I'm going to come back in with this brush. Clean it off a little bit better. And pick up this color here. The peachy color. And add some of that in here. Not too much, but just a touch of it, just to keep it continuous here. I need that darker color. I'm going to have to mix it up again right away. She needs to be in there too. I'm going to grab the darker color now. I'm going to use a more bristly brush because I want to make sure it sits well and doesn't lift off. Sometimes with the softer brushes, it lifts off so easily. Gotta get up and grab that oil that I dropped. I'm going to add some of this darker. We need a bit more dark still. And then now I've added too much of the magenta. Maybe I'll add a little bit of the rose too. Helps. With this one, I'm able to press more deliberately and harder because of this brush being a harder bristle brush, and then it sticks on top of the wet paint a bit better. Really really not quite working right tonally because this side would be much darker. So I don't want to do too much. I'm going to come back in and add some browns in, I think, to help make it sit more at the right value that I want. I'm going to add some in down here. Need more color. Oops. Yeah, I could probably do with some more umber in this, but you know what? I'm gonna wait on that and add that in when it's dry, I think, because I think it'll sit better. These brushes end up being a lot more scumbly than the other ones, than the softer ones, the softer bristles. And they sound very different when you paint as well. They have more of a scratchy sound. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to go back to the straight yellow ochre and add that in a few more places. The reason I twirled that was to get the paint off my brush, and then I grab the chunk with the end of my brush, and that's how I get it to sit on the canvas when it's more wet like this. The next color I'm planning on putting into this section is going to be the yellow ochre with white. And that may be my lightest color, actually. We'll see. I really like it though so far. I think it's really beautiful. I love these colors. This palette in here, I think it's really stunning. I'm excited to see how this one will work out, because I think that will be really beautiful as well. I'm not sure how the colors are going to go exactly in that section yet either. Another fun thing about painting this way is it's not directed by the reference image, so you don't really know where it's going to go. Like, I don't know what color I'm going to put over here yet. I'm going to just let my intuition guide me and see what happens and not force the image too much. Let it kind of evolve on its own. Such an exciting way of painting, and it's so new to me. It feels so instinctive and feels so right at the same time. It's a beautiful feeling. I love this kind of curve that I've created in this section here. I did that intentionally because I think that it just sits so beautifully, and then with this wispy section down here, which I'm going to leave, I think that mirrors that really beautifully. I'm making a conscious effort not to put too much in each spot and to make sure that they're not looking like such uniform shapes. They're random and unexpected. And I'm taking time to lean back and gain some perspective as well, and make sure that this is all going along smoothly. That is a really important part of painting, is taking space and sitting back and giving yourself a minute, rather than being just consumed with the details the whole time. It makes a huge difference when you are able to learn to do that often. Easy to forget though. I feel like when I haven't painted for a while, I really get out of the habit of doing that, and it shows. Like, you can definitely tell, or I can tell anyway, that when I haven't done that, I'll get to the end of it and I'll stand back and I'm like, oh man, should have done that earlier. Because the perspective really helps you to see things in a slightly different way. Okay, next up, I'm going to add some white to this. I need to add a bit more white to my palette here. And this is just like the most beautiful color palette. I love it so much. Okay, do we want this darker, or is this light? It needs to be lighter. I might even add some lemon yellow into it. I wasn't planning on it. I was planning on it being I love this lemon yellow. It is beautiful. It's so bright and cheery. And adding this to my palette has really, really transformed it. You know, might still need to be a bit lighter, I think. That look pretty. A low highlights. I don't want to add too much of this, but I know that it needs it. I am squinting my eyes again. My brush. Oh yeah, that makes a huge difference. So the light kind of is coming from this way. When I'm doing this, I'm going to have to be conscious that that wouldn't have any lights on it. So that's on the dark side of the mountain or the hill or whatever it is. The wave, as my daughter would call it. So it won't have a ton of lights in it, or it won't have as bright whites as this side will. So I will not be adding as many colors to this side probably. I'll probably only add maybe another dark in and then something mid-tone. I could add lights to this section because that's the side that kind of is uphill, but I'm not sure yet. I am kind of tempted to do some just like lemon yellow and white and see where that fits in. Actually going to use a smaller brush. Kind of greeny. I'll put a touch of this in. So it's like got similar colors in it, but it's just a different mixture, a lighter mixture, and the ratios are different. There's a lot more lemon yellow. Might have been a color that would have been better to add once it's all dry so that it's sat on top better rather than gets mixed in a little. However, I do like when they mix a bit on the canvas. And I wish I got that lemon yellow out a bit earlier and had a bit more of it in this section, but that's okay. Starting to get muddy already. Got too much of the yellow ochre in it, and it's not really sitting on top of it very well. I will attempt a little bit more, but it might be something I have to come back to. And put a touch more down here, and then I'm going to leave that for this side right now until it dries off. I feel like this section got too high, and it's almost looking a little too perfect up here. So now that I'm reflecting, I'm going to use this yellow and change the shape of that a little. And that is purely from sitting back and looking, so that's why it is so important to do that. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to grab this brush here and add a few of these in as well, so that it's not all one color. I want to do a little bit on here while I have this paint all out. I mean, I can do some tomorrow too, but your girl wants to do some now. I'm going to need a bit more of the, not the permanent rose, I need the magenta. Hello, hello. Add white in. Got a little of the yellow on the brush, which is okay. This is way too light. Remember when I was saying I didn't want too many lights on the side because that is technically the dark side of the mountain. So I'm being conscious of that when I'm mixing up this color. I think I want to add a little bit of blue in to make it a bit more violet-y. I could add this violet. Maybe. I did get a new blue. I got Russian blue. I don't think I have that one. We're going to try this one. She's brand new. Looks pretty. Welcome to the pack. No, I don't think I need this color. That's beautiful. I'm gonna add this violet in here. Ooh, love. I'm gonna add this violet in, and then I'm going to stop for the day. That's such a pretty color. I love the way that it reflects with the pinky color in the background. I don't even know how much I'm going to put in. I think it's going to be just little bits here and there. It's really pretty against the green as well. Again, being observant of the shapes and making sure that they don't all look too similar to each other, as in like this section and this section, and making sure there's quite a bit of variation in that. And then making sure that you can see through the colors. I definitely don't want to fill in any sections and not allow for the background to come through. Is in the darker pinks that are on the base, and then some of the greens that are coming through. It looks really pretty. I got this blue for making different greens because it's a different blue than I had, and it has more of a green undertone, so I think it will work really well. It's a color that I got introduced to. I always use just ultramarine blue, and I got introduced to it in university when we had a botanical gardens. We had a class where we went to the botanical gardens for observation work, and we drew and made artwork while we were there, and then we went back to the studio and created artwork. It was one of the assignments we had, and I needed to get the greens a bit better, and the lecturer suggested I try that color. And it's not a color that I use very often because I've been mostly doing portraits, but now that I'm doing more landscapes, it's a color that I think I will be using a bit more because it really is a nice color for making greens, because it has green undertones rather than ultramarine doesn't have any green undertones. It's also a really nice color for making black. This Prussian blue, the Prussian and the raw umber together make a really, really rich, beautiful black. I love using it as my black. So that is what I've mainly used it for in portraits before getting darks in. But yeah, I think it will continue to be on my palette more now because of the nature of where my practice is going. Now I'm trying to mimic this curve down here with this color. I'm going to throw in some of the darker pinks that I still have mixed up here in with it as well. They look a bit lighter. Maybe there was a bit of white left on this brush still, but it will be a good start. Better than nothing right now. And I'm just throwing it on pretty quickly. I'm not being too precious about it. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. It is what it is. Yeah, I like that kind of sweepingness that is getting created on the two sides. I think that that's a beautiful element. Okay, touch down here in the corner, and that's me for today. So I'm going to clean up now. I'm just going to throw the lid on this palette. I'm not going to do anything with it. And I am going to call it a day. I am so grateful that you watched this video, and that if you've stuck around to this point, I'm so glad that we spent this time together. I really hope that you have a wonderful day and can create some space to do some painting and bring something into this world that was never in this world this morning. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm sending you so much love. Bye.